In today's video, we will be talking about how to customize Gnome 42 in Ubuntu Linux 22.04.2. Welcome back to the channel for returning subscribers and viewers. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure to subscribe to the channel because that's how you support the channel and that's how the algorithm will push our video forward so that others who will find this content useful will be able to find it on YouTube. I will begin today's exercise by opening the Linux terminal. So to do that, the shortcut is to press Ctrl, Alt, and T on Windows or Command, Alt, and T on the Mac. So I will maximize this window. So if you notice the text in the terminal, they are very small. So I will just go to the top right-hand corner and then click on the hamburger menu, which are those three lines that just stack on top of each other. So when you click on those lines, and then you come down to preferences. Then the next thing you'll do is just click on your left where you have on name, and you come to where you have custom font. So by default, this place will be unchecked. So you just have to check it, and then just click where the number 12 is and just highlight this. I'm just going to change it to 48 and I will click on select at the top right hand corner, and then I will just click on the X in the top right to close it. So I will just increase in the text in my terminal so that it can be visible as you go through and follow along. Thing we're going to do is to install VMware tools so that we can have better viewing experience as we use Ubuntu within the virtual environment. So just follow along. I will also put these commands within the description so that you can just copy it and use those commands. But in later videos, we will come into how to install and update Ubuntu. But for now, just follow along. So the first command will be sudo apt-get update. Press enter, and then it will ask you to put in your password. So I'm just going to put in my password. This password will be the password that you put in episode 1. If you remember, there was a place that you had to create a username and a password. So it will just be the same password that you are putting in at this stage. So you put in your password and press enter, and we'll just let that to run some update. You need to have internet connection to carry on this exercise, so just keep that in mind. So I'll just let that to run. All right, that is done. The next thing I will do is to type sudo apt-get install open VM tools. Press enter. That is done. I will type sudo apt-get install open -VM -tools -desktop. So these commands are just helping to install the VMware tools as I mentioned, so that we can have a better viewing experience as we use Ubuntu within our VMware station player. So the next thing I will do is just to click on the top right, click on the power button and click on power off / log out, and then just restart my Ubuntu Linux by clicking on restart. And I will just say restart. After resetting, the next thing I want to do is just to go to the settings and increase the size of the icons. So I'll just click on show applications and then go to settings. So once that opens up, I will go to the display. Now I just increase this scale to 200% and just apply. Just keep changes, just so that my icons are a little bigger, and then that is better for you to see. The next thing I'm going to do, because it's so bright right now, I will just come to appearance here and change it to dark mode. So I'll click on dark and that will change. And then within the settings, you can do so many things. So you come to network, it allows you to see the type of network connection. If you have a Bluetooth device that you want to use with Ubuntu, you can click on Bluetooth and you turn the Bluetooth on, and then you make sure that the device Bluetooth is in pairing mode, and then we'll be able to discover it on Ubuntu, and you can be able to connect your Bluetooth device to Ubuntu. And you can come to background and then change your desktop background. So the default background has that jellyfish. You can change it to whatever you want to change. It could be these default pictures that came with it, or it could be a picture that you put on Ubuntu that you can set as your desktop background. So just spend time going through these and just playing around, just familiarizing yourself with the Gnome, which is just the desktop environment for Ubuntu and other versions and other flavors of Linux. So you have appearance. When you come to appearance is where we change the appearance to either it was on light mode and we change it to dark mode. So that allows you to adjust those things here as well. And also this icon, usually the icon probably should be like around 36, 48, something like that. By default, you can always increase the icon size here. So as you see, as I move it left and right, this all decreases the icon size. And then if you have more than one display, you can choose to show the icon on just one, on the primary display or on multiple displays. You can choose that option when you click down here. It allows you to show those icons on all display or just on the primary display. And then also the position on the screen. Right now, it is those icons are positioned to your left. You can always change it to bottom or to right. Have the dock behavior, you can also change that as well. Then we have notifications. So if you are in a meeting or if you are working and I want to disturb you, you could change your notification here to do not disturb, and it will basically silence all notification. Then multitasking is where you set up those kind of thing, privacy, and I will just go back. And online accounts. Online account is when we first log into Ubuntu after installing Ubuntu in episode 1. If you notice, it asks you, do you want to log in or do you want to create an online account or add an online account? This was that same place, so we can still add an online account here. So for example, if you add, let's say, your Gmail account, and then if it has settings within your calendar that you have events that you have planned, they will all show up in the notification area. So usually the notification area will show up at the middle of the screen at the top where you have the date. If I click on that date, it opens the calendar to the right. It tells me today is the 14th. And because I don't have any events, so it said no events. So if I had an online account, or basically if I had any account, whether Gmail or Microsoft account or Facebook or any account connected to my Ubuntu, if there are any activities within the calendar, they will pull, those information will be pulled into your events here, and then you'll be able to see it. And then you can also toggle do not disturb here as well, either from here or through the settings. So I'll just click out to close that. Then sharing just allows you to activate remote desktop so that you can be able to either remotely connect to your Ubuntu or use your Ubuntu to remotely connect to a different device. Then you have settings, you can go through them and see your output device, input device, and all of those different settings options. Then we have the power here as well. So it allows you to choose the different power, whether you want balance power, whether you want power to have the device set to power saver mode, or if you if the device is idle for 5 minutes. By default, it is here showing 5 minutes. So if they are in activity for a period of 5 minutes, then the screen will just go blank. And you can also set the computer that after a while of inactivity, it should suspend the computer. So those are things that you can look at. And then display settings is where we change the scale to 200%. So this has to do with the resolution of your display. So you can set the refresh rate, set the resolution and the orientation. And then your mouse and your touchpad, so you can make those adjustments as well within this area. And you can either choose your left. By default, the left button on the mouse is for clicking, which is a primary. You can swap it around to the right depending on if you are left-handed or right-handed. You have keyboard. You can set up your various keyboard. If you remember during the installation, we selected English US because the keyboard I'm using is English US. So for some reason, if you did use English US and then maybe you also work in a different language, for example, you work in the French language, you can click on add and then you can come and add another keyboard language. Yeah. So you just have to search for it. So if you use, let's say, France, you can just type that, French. And then depending on the French, usually the AZT is the popular one for the French keyboard. But again, it depends on what you are using. So you can just pick that option. So just click on cancel. And then you also have printers. You can set up printers and you can add removable devices as well. You can look at the color settings of your Ubuntu. You can look at the region and language. So it allows you to add language. Basically, it's for language packs. So you can add additional language that you're using and then also choose the format. Because I'm using English US as the language, so the format is set to United States. So that will affect the numbers, how the numbers are displayed on the calendar, how the dates are displayed, how the currency will be displayed. In the United States, they use the Fahrenheit, and most of the other countries in the world use centigrade or Celsius. So just bear in mind that depending on the settings you are putting in, the format, it will affect the format of how those things are displayed. Then we have accessibility. You can go through it if you want to zoom and all of those things. If you want to set your Ubuntu to high contrast with the keyboard settings, you can come down. You have hearing, typing, pointing, and clicking, and then also users. So you can add additional users. Yeah. So this is the user that we created during the installation process. So in the top, you have add user. You can add user. This is just a quick overview of the graphical user interface of Ubuntu. But a bulk of the thing that we will be doing with it will use the command line interface and not the graphical user interface. But this is just for someone who probably who uses Ubuntu or who wishes to use Ubuntu for, let's say, videography, photography, video editing and those kind of things, or graphic design or motion design. Such a user will use the graphical user interface more than the command line interface. So it's good to just have an idea of where things are and where to find them and how to use them. So I'll click the X to just close out of the settings. And then there is the Ubuntu software, which has the little bag and the A. So when you click on it, it will open up the software. Look to the left side of software, you'll notice an orange dot. It tells you that that app is open. So if I open the LibreOffice Writer, if I open Writer, or an orange dot will also appear at the left side of it. So that tells you that these two are open and the rest are not open. So just keep that in mind, just in case you are wondering why there is an orange dot at the left side. It's just because it's open. So I can minimize this and come back to our software. So the software I arrange here in categories. So you have the various categories. So if you click on, let's say, music and audio, it will open that category and it will show you what are the software that are available in the software store for music and audio. So I'll just give it some time and allow that to load up. And then also we have the trash, and then we have information about Ubuntu, and then we have the help, then we have Rhythmbox, which is a music player, and then we have the file manager, which is just called files. Then we have our mail, the mail and software, which is a Thunderbird mail, and then the default browser Ubuntu comes with is Firefox web browser. So now that we have music and audio apps I've loaded up, you can click on an app. Let's say you click on 4K YouTube Pro, it opens. And if you want to install this app, you just go ahead and just click on install. And then it will ask you to type in your password. You put in your password and press enter. And then it installs. As it installs, it shows you the progress. So it has already downloaded and now it is installing. And at the bottom here, it gives you information about the app. It tells you the size of the app. It tells you the version number. It tells you the developer, the website. It'll give you review information and those things. Some app will even give you age limit as to the type of ages that can use it, especially for the games. So it will tell you between ages 5 to 8 can play this game, or is okay, appropriate for those ages. So not every app will be available in the App Store. If you cannot find an app in the App Store, you can always download those apps. So if you click on install, it tells you apps that are already installed. These are apps that we didn't install, but these are apps that were automatically installed during the installation process of Ubuntu. And then when you click on updates, it tells you updates that are available. So we have update available for the Firefox and all of those things. So if you want to just update just the Firefox, you can come to the right side of the Firefox and just click on update, and it's going to update Firefox. If you want to update everything, then you just click on update all at the top and it's going to update all. So let's open our web browser. So let's say we open our web browser. I'll let that to open, and then I'll come back to the App Store. So at the top left-hand corner of the App Store, if you click on that little spyglass, is the search. So let's say we want to download Chrome. So we can type in Chrome and then press enter and allow it to search for Chrome. So when we look in the list, we do not see Google Chrome in the list. So which means it's not in the App Store, but you can always go to the web browser, and then you can just open a tab and let's say download Google Chrome. Press enter, and then you click download now. Click on download Chrome. and then it automatically detects that we are using Ubuntu. So it gives you the two options to either download Google Chrome for Debian / Ubuntu or for Fedora / OpenSUSE. And we are using Ubuntu, so we'll keep it to the first option, and then we'll just say accept and install. So we'll give it a minute, and then we'll download. And when we click at the top here, we can click here to see the progress of the download. It shows us the progress of the download. And then so we can just give it a few seconds and allow that to down. And also install it. But again, we are just taking a look at the Gnome, which is the desktop environment for Ubuntu. But a lot of these things we will be doing in subsequent video from the command line interface. So I'm just kind of, like I said, making us to be familiar with the graphical user interface. But most people that use Linux, like programmers, like hackers, security professional, system administrator, I would say that about 95% to 98% of what they do on Linux, it is done from the command line interface. And the command line interface is faster, is easier. It may seem harder for someone who is new to Linux, but with time, as you go through these videos that we will be making, you'll realize that it's very easy to understand how to use the command line interface, and you'll become a pro eventually if you go through all of our videos. So I will just let that to download, and then so again at the bottom left hand corner, if you click here show application, it shows you all the applications that are installed so far on Ubuntu. So if you are looking for an application, let's say if we have a lot of applications and we are looking for the terminal, we can just tap in the top terminal and it's going to show the terminal, and we can just click on it and that will open the terminal for us. So that's one way of opening the terminal. Another way is just to use the shortcut to press Control Alt and T on Windows, or Command Alt and T on a Mac. So now that we did increase that percentage to 200% for the scaling, I will just reduce the size of my text. So I'll go back to preference, go back to the profile, and just change this to probably 24. And close that. Okay, I think that's much better. Yes, so I will just click on the S. After downloading Google Chrome browser, there are a few ways we can go about installing Google Chrome browser on Ubuntu. So we could just come to the top right-hand corner and click on the hamburger menu. So those are the three lines stacked on top of each other. So you click on that, and then you come to downloads, and you click on download, and it will show you the download of Google Chrome browser. And then you can just come to the right side, this little folder, and click on it, and it will open directly to where the file was downloaded. So that's one way. So I will just close it. Another way is to use the shortcut. So the shortcut is Control Shift and Y for Windows. So I'm sure it will be Command plus Shift and Y for someone using a Mac. So that's another way to go to the downloads folder. Then another way is just to come to the file manager. You click on files, and then it opens up the user home directory. Then all you have to do is just to double click on downloads, and then you will see the downloaded file within the downloads directory. So you just right click on that, and you pick the option open with other application. So when you click that, you have two options. You have the archive manager and the software install. So I will just click on software install and I will click on select. That is going to load up the software installation for Google Chrome. So I'll just give it a few seconds and allow that to load up. So at this point, it loads up, it gives you some information about the setup. So it tells you the size of the download so far is unknown. And then it says potentially unsafe. But it's because this software wasn't downloaded from the store. So it says potentially unsafe. But we know that the file is safe because we actually did download it from Google website. So to install, you just simply click on the green install button. And then you put in your password. And you press enter or you click on authenticate. That will take some time to prepare the installation and then we'll install Google Chrome. So basically that's how you will install Google Chrome if you downloaded it or any other software. It doesn't have to be Google Chrome, but it's almost like on a Windows computer or on a Mac computer. You just double click on it for Windows and you install on Mac. Usually you have to drag it and drop it on application and you go through the wizard to install. So it's pretty much the same thing. But as we progress in this course, we will do most of this installation from the command line interface instead of the graphical user interface. But this was just an example of how you can do that within the graphical user interface. So now it tells us that it was installed and the size of the file is 95.2 megabyte. So if we click on at the bottom left, if we click on show applications, it's going to show us all of the applications and we can simply type Chrome in the search to find it and you can just click it to open. So that was just a short demonstration. So if you want to make Chrome your default browser, I don't want to make Chrome my default browser, I'll uncheck it. Automatically send usage stats and crash report to Google. I don't want to do that. I will just click uncheck that. I will click on OK. And then it's just going to open up Google Chrome. So that was just the demonstration of how to install it, like I said. This is just the Ubuntu image that we use to install Ubuntu. So we still have that connected to the VMware. So that is what that is being shown right here. So if you click on this, it opens, you see that it is the Ubuntu installation ASO that we connected. So you have the option to just click here to unmount and we'll get disconnected from the virtual machine. So we'll just close this window and then there is a folder on the desktop called home. So the user that is logged in, this is the user home directory. So if you double click on this, it opens and it shows you the various directories or folder within that main directory. So you have the desktop, the documents, download music, pictures, public, and all those information for a particular user that is logging. If you go to the top right-hand corner and click on the power button, either the power button or the volume or the network, it will still show you the same drop down. So the very first thing you will see is the volume control. So we can either increase or decrease volume. The next thing is the connection. So we have a wire connection. The next thing is that balance, which is basically the power mode. So it's just telling us we have the balance power mode configured right now on this Ubuntu computer. And then the next thing is settings, which is just the same settings that we went through. And then this one is where you can click on it to lock your screen. So this is good for someone walking away from their computer. You just click on it and the screen will lock. And then once you come back, you just put in your password and you are able to log in. So that's for security reason. And then you also have power off / log out. So if you click on it, it extends and shows you other options, either to suspend or restart or power off or log out of your computer. I'm just going to close this. On the top left hand corner, we have activities. So if you click on activities, it allows you to see the various software that we have open. So right now we only have Office. So let's say we open Ubuntu software, we'll have that open. And then let's say we click on the files to open the files manager. So right now we have 3 things that are open. So if we click on activities here, it's just going to show the 3 things that are open. And then if we want to go to the software, we'll just click on the software and then we'll come to the front. So that allows you to easily and quickly navigate through various windows that are already open. Last but not the least is when you click on activities at the top left hand corner, where you can easily navigate between the open windows, you would notice on the right there is a little window that is showing here. So if I click on it, if I double click on it, it takes me to another workspace. So in this workspace, I can open, let's say, the I can open the Thunderbird Mail app within this workspace. So that will just stay within this workspace. So I can click on activity, and then if I double click on the right, it's going to create a third workspace. And then if I double click on the left, it's going to go back to the very first workspace that has the 3 windows open. And then when you look at the top, you also see the option to navigate through the workspace. So this is the first workspace. And then if you click on it, it just comes back to that. So if you click on activities, it shows you the workspaces and you can navigate between the workspaces. So it just allows you to, if you are doing, let's say you're working on an Office document in one of the workspaces, and then maybe in the next workspace, maybe having the terminal open there, and then maybe in the next workspace, you have your emails open. So you can have them in different workspaces, and it allows you to be able to work and not feel distracted by other things blocking your view, because those things are open in other workspaces. So you can have multiple workspaces to use in Ubuntu Linux. So that brings us to an end of this little overview of Ubuntu, just the GNOME or the desktop environment, or sometimes it's called the GUI, which is GUI, or graphical user interface. It's just a brief overview of that. We come to an end of this basic overview of the GNOME or desktop environment of Ubuntu. In the next video, we will start to look at the command line interface and try to work with that and understand how we can use some basic commands. And with time, as we progress in the series, we will get to some intermediate command, and then with time, we will go to more advanced command. So until then, take care and all of the best. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Leave comment down in the comment section if you have questions, if you have any feedback. Just make sure to leave those down there, and we will do our best to reply to all of the comments. But share it again with someone who will find it useful. And till we see you again, take care. Bye.